Hello, welcome or welcome back to the Yarn and Yarns YouTube channel. My name is Angela and all the places you can find me should be linked in the description box below this video. Here on the channel you'll find me chatting about my adventures in knitting, spinning, crochet and weaving, all of the fibre related things. Today's video is my September making plans video. Every month at the beginning of the month, or I should say at least most months at the beginning of the month, I try and set myself a few making goals, and I do that by employing a little bit of a game of chance. I have a multi-sided die and some prompt cards. I'm someone who likes to have a lot of works in progress on the needles, so I use this little game to try and pick myself a few projects to concentrate on during the coming weeks. So I shall be doing that in this video today. But first off, before I roll the dice, I will be asking one of our lovely community members to pick a project for me. So for the last couple of years I have been also adding this fun sort of community element to my making plans, and I have on my phone here a little wheel app, sort of a randomizer, and I've popped in everybody's name who has said that they would be interested in picking a project for me. So we're going to spin the wheel and see who's going to pick a September project for me. I'm really excited to get into my making in September. I didn't have a chance to do one of these videos for August, and I've kind of been missing that focus. Although I've had fun working on lots of different projects in August, yeah, it just hasn't quite been the same. I think I've just got into the habit of doing this and having some projects to focus on. So anyway, let's stop the waffle and find out who is hopefully going to be picking a project for me for September. Okay, so it's going to be the lovely Mary Ann, who will hopefully be still interested in picking a project for me. So I'm going to get in touch with Mary Ann and ask her to pick a project. So she's more than welcome to pick either anything from my current works in progress, and I will either send a link to my Ravelry page, or if Mary Ann's not a Ravelry user, then I'm happy just to send a list of what I'm currently working on. But if there's nothing on there that appeals to Mary Ann, then she's most welcome to pick anything she wants. So a brand new cast on, something that maybe is a favourite project of hers, or a pattern that she'd fancied to try but hasn't quite got round to casting on herself. I'm open to anything, and I'm happy to buy yarns and patterns if I need to, if I can't make things work from my stash. So yeah, I'm excited to see what Mary Ann will choose for me, and once that decision has been made, I'll come back and roll the dice and pick the other projects. So a few days have passed and Mary Ann has come back to me and let me know what project she'd like me to work on for September. And Mary Ann has asked that I do some weaving with some of my hand spun yarn, which will be really fun, I think. I did get the weaving prompt when I rolled the dice a couple of months ago, and I got as far as winding up the yarn, but I didn't even warp my loom. Such is life. But I won't be starting that project because it doesn't involve working with hand spun yarn. I do want to have some kind of project in mind, I think, rather than just randomly throw some of my hand spun on the loom and just weave with it without a sort of purpose for the finished fabric. So I thought this might be a fun way to challenge myself to actually try to follow a weaving pattern. So far in my weaving journey, I've done a little bit of tapestry weaving. Don't think, oh, you can just about see one of my tapestry woven pieces up on the wall behind me. Other than that, I've mostly just done sort of plain weaving for scarves and just pieces of fabric. I thought it'd be fun to kind of challenge myself, and so I've picked a project. I have this magazine called Little Looms, easy weaving with little looms. I thought it'd be fun to try and showcase maybe a small amount of some lovely hand spun. So I've come across this project which is by Anu Bhatia, and it's called a Sirius scarf. I don't know how well, hopefully it will show up okay. So hopefully you can see that it's got a lot of plain colour, but there's some little bits of what look to me like honeycomb weaving, although I'm not a weaving expert, so I'm not sure. Oh, it does say honeycomb scarf. So yeah, and I thought that the little pops of colour in the warp and the honeycomb in the weft would be great for showcasing one, you know, special skein of hand spun yarn. So that, I think, is going to be my plan. I will be using commercial yarn for the main colour, I think. I probably don't have a big enough quantity of hand spun to use as the sort of one solid colour. I may have to play around with the width of this scarf or wrap, because it might be done on a slightly bigger loom than I actually have. I've got 2 looms, rigid heddle looms. I think that's going to be my project, and I will have some fun playing around with colours for that. I think I've got loads of handspun in my handspun stash now, just sitting there waiting to be used, so I'm sure I can find something to have a go at that Syria scarf. And as I say, I think it will be a real big challenge for me to actually try and follow a weaving pattern, because I've never done that before, so wish me luck. There'll be a few challenges ahead, but hopefully, you know, the majority of the weaving will be simple enough for me to sort of crack on with, get on with it, and then there'll be a little bit of a challenge and hopefully help me get my toes wet in terms of trying to follow a weaving pattern. So thank you so much to Mary-Ann for inspiring me to try something new and for suggesting a little bit of weaving. It's been a while, so yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I think I will try and get my loom warped up sooner rather than later, otherwise, knowing me, the time will go by and I won't get this project started. It's always the warping of the loom that seems to take me the longest time. Once everything's all set up, then I'm happy to sit and weave away. If you would like to go onto my wheel to potentially pick a project for me at some point in the future, then please do let me know in the comments below. It's really useful if I have a way to contact you as well. So if you're happy to either leave your Instagram name or your email along with your comment, that would be really handy. People use different sort of names on different social media platforms. It can be tricky to contact people through YouTube, although I did manage to get hold of Mary-Ann through YouTube, so that was good. But yeah, if you think there's an easy way for me to contact you, I would appreciate you leaving that along with your comment. If you are on the wheel and for any reason you don't want to be on there anymore, then again, please do let me know and I will happily take you off, so that the folks who do want to have the opportunity to choose a project for me will have the most chance of doing so. Time for me to roll the dice and we can pick the other 4 projects for my September. Meant to be broken. The dice have spoken and there's quite a nice range of prompts, I think. One will lead me to a specific project and the rest give me opportunity to choose some things from my works in progress. I can of course choose to cast on something new as well if I wanted to, but at the moment I think I've got lots of good projects on the needles that I'm really looking forward to working on and just haven't had the time this year really. So I'd like to try and finish the year strong and maybe get a few of my projects finished. Anyway, in no particular order, the prompt that's going to lead me to a specific project is this one, number 14, and that is the random number generator prompt. And once again, I want to say a big thank you to my lovely friend Simone, who made these cards for me. Simone has her own channel. She's very much into journaling, planning, and she's doing a lot with fountain pens and ink at the moment, so I shall link her channel below if you're interested in checking that out. So yeah, for the random number generator, I will have a quick look. I think I've got 27 projects on the needles at the moment, so I'm just going to plop numbers 1 to 27 into a random number generator on my phone, and we will say 1 is my oldest project and 27 is my newest project, and we'll see where this leads us. So 25, that's going to be one of my newer projects, and actually that's quite handy because it won't take me long to find out what that one is. It's just a couple of projects back. Oh, that is quite funny. So 25 is going to be my Raya sweater, which I've actually been doing a fair amount of work on the last few months. So I guess fate wants me to continue to work on my Raya. I'll show you where I'm at because I've actually just finished the front of this sweater. So this sweater, if you're new to the channel and you haven't seen this project before, was featured in the very last issue of Pom Pom magazine. So this is what the front of the magazine looks like. So this is the Raya. Hopefully the camera focused in on that. It's an oversized crop top with a fringe detail on the bottom, and I just became obsessed with the idea of making that as soon as I received the magazine. So this is my version. I'm using hand spun yarn in this, and as I say, I've just finished the front of the top. So all of the coloured stripes are my hand spun yarn, and then this sort of brownie colour for the background is a Fleurville 4-ply, which I think is from the Yarn Collective. Don't quote me on that. But yeah, I've just finished the front. So my needles are hanging out here on the cuff of the second sort of sleeve. It doesn't really have sleeves as such, but it's got a little bit of a faux rib detail for that. So yeah, I guess I shall be carrying on with that sweater. I'm chuckling because I've been working on and off on that for the last couple of months, and I was kind of ready to have a little break from it. But hey, the dice have spoken and I shall be carrying on with that for the next month to come. So we'll see how far I can get. I think, well, let's hope, let's set an aim. Let's try and aim to get halfway across the back, say, on that project in September. We'll see, fingers crossed. It's also quite amusing or fun to me that all of the patterns in that particular book were inspired by woven fabric, and obviously Mary-Ann has just chosen a weaving project for me to start as well. So yeah, that's all kind of tying in. There's a mini theme going on, hand spun and weaving. So we've got 3 more prompts for choosing a project, so let's tackle those. Number 15, the prompt is sock. I do have a couple of sock projects on the needles at the moment, but I think I'm just going to use that prompt as a way of continuing with my scrappy sock knitting. At the moment I am trying for our Yarn and Yarns scrap make along to work through a whole bunch of leftover sock yarns in my stash, and I've mostly been knitting socks, and I've been given lots of lovely suggestions for different patterns that would lend themselves to scraps and leftovers. So I've got a list of those that I want to try and work through. I don't have a scrappy sock on my needles at the moment, so I think I'm just going to use that as a way to keep going on the scrap challenge and to keep making for our scrap make along. The next prompt, number 7, and we haven't had this one before, so that's quite fun, and the prompt on this one is pattern. Now if you're playing along, I'm going to obviously leave you to interpret that however you want. You could cast on a new pattern, you could maybe use a pattern that has been in your queue or in your library for a long time and you haven't yet managed to cast it on. My original idea behind that prompt was to knit on something that's not plain garter stitch or plain stocking stitch or stockinette stitch, however you refer to that in your country of origin. So yeah, lace, cables, colour work, all of those variations would count, just anything that's not plain garter stitch or plain stocking stitch. I've got a few projects in my works in progress pile that would fit that prompt. I think I'm going to pick a project, another one that did come up a few months ago as a prompt for my making plans, and I didn't manage to make any progress on it whatsoever. And this is the Alloy hat, which is a brioche hat pattern. And so this is my progress so far. It does end up using 3 different colours of yarn, and I've got some beautiful Garthenor yarn, my first time using Garthenor. It's a lovely British wool, and I've got these 3 colours that will go into my hat. And here, oh no, I better not show you that one because that has secret sauce and it is a paid for pattern. So this is the Alloy hat. So you can see the original pattern chose some nice subdued colours. I've gone for all the brights. I purchased these in a de-stash from one of my lovely friends. Hi Jeanette, if you're watching. And yeah, I've paired them up for this hat. So yeah, a bit of brioche knitting will be the thing for my pattern prompt. And given that I've got a sweater, and I'm going to be doing the scrappy socks, I think it'd be nice to also have another small project that we, you know, with a bit of time and concentration, I could get this off the needles. And my aim for the last few months of the year, obviously we will be heading fast towards the new round of the 12 cast on projects. My aim will be to try and get as many projects as I can off the needles. So concentrating on some of the smaller things will be the way to go, I think. So yeah, Alloy hat will be the project that I'm picking for the pattern prompt. Finally, for this month's prompts, number 18. And that is to pick a project from one of my 12 cast-ons. If you're new to the channel and you're wondering what I'm talking about, I've already mentioned the 12 cast-ons a couple of times, I think, in this video. It's a make-along that I host at the end of each year going into the beginning of a new year. And there are some playlists on the main channel if you want to dive in and have a look at what that's all about. But basically I pick 12 projects to cast on to set myself up for lots of fun making in the coming weeks, months and years. But yeah, as I say, there's loads of videos on the channel if you want to find out more about that. So I've got loads of projects that I could choose, and having said that I want to concentrate on maybe some of the smaller projects, I'm going to pick another sweater. You know, the random number generator has already picked Raya for me, but for some reason I have just been itching to get back to my Guatemala project. Now I don't know if it's because I'm using autumnal colours and we're obviously fast approaching autumn here in the Northern Hemisphere. It could be that. It could just be that I am hankering after some easy garter stitch. Or it just could be the fact that I'm working away with all of my leftovers and scraps. And my Guatemala could easily count for our scrappy make-along, because I picked out a whole raft. This bag here is absolutely full of bits and pieces and leftovers from previous projects that I decided to make a Technicolor dream cardigan. Have to please ignore all of the ends if you can see any. But this is the progress that I've made so far on my Guatemala. And yeah, as I say, I've just been itching to get back to it. I have not long split for the sleeves, and so yeah, I'll be working down the rest of the body on this project. It holds 4-ply or fingering weight yarn held double, so I'm hoping now that I've split for the sleeves and reduced my stitch count a little bit that this will knit up relatively quickly in the scheme of things. Holding 2 strands of fingering weight together is kind of equivalent to a heavy DK or a worsted weight, I would say. Yeah, it'd be quite nice to move away. Like my preferred weight of yarn to knit with is fingering weight or 4-ply, so it'd be quite nice to have something that's a little bit thicker. A little bit of a change of pace for my hands. I think I was chatting to Susan over in our Patreon group the other day saying I was itching to get back to this and I was going to try and find some way to squeeze it into my September making if I could. So as soon as that 12 cast on prompt came up, I knew that if the random number generator didn't pick this project, I would be picking this one anyway. So yeah, Guatemala is my 5th project for September. I've got a couple of sweaters to work on. I think what I will probably do is alternate. So I'll probably spend a week working on the Guatemala, then I'll swap to the Raya for a week, then I'll go back to Guatemala for a week, and so on and so forth, just to mix things up a bit, and also to make sure that I'm spending sort of little bursts of concentrated time on each of those projects, rather than trying to fit a little bit of knitting on all of them every day. So yeah, Raya, Guatemala, I've got some weaving ahead of me, scrappy socks, and the alloy hat. Everything? Yeah, that's everything. So let me know in the comments below what you will be concentrating on, what you'll be working on in the coming weeks in September. If you're playing along with the prompts, I think most of them should be fairly straightforward. Random number generator, that's pretty self-explanatory. Sock, obviously if you're not a sock knitter, I would say substitute that in for a smaller project, so maybe a hat or some mitts or something like that, something, you know, in the smaller realm. Or if you're working on projects for our scrap make along, then maybe you could use that as that prompt as an excuse to work on a scrappy project. Pattern, again, fairly self-explanatory. And then 12 cast on, obviously if you have participated in the 12 cast ons and you've still got projects on the go, then hopefully that one will be fairly straightforward for you. But if you have finished your 12 cast on projects, or if you didn't join the 12 cast ons and you want to follow along with the prompts and pick something, just pick something that you're knitting as part of a make along. Doesn't have to be one of mine, it can be any make along out there. There's always plenty going on in our lovely knitting YouTube community. So yeah, use that as an excuse to work on a project that means you're participating in a community make along in some way. Right, I am going to sign off now. I need to get this video edited and uploaded. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you will join me again soon for the next video. There'll be more coming up, of course. Until we do get to spend time together again, I hope you get to do some of the things that you enjoy. Great big woolly hugs to you all. Bye for now. Bye.